to the Uncensored Truth Podcast with your brother, Old Goddess Sandman. We're going all the way in today. Whatever platform you're listening on, especially YouTube, go ahead and hit the like button and make sure that you share the content. We do appreciate, all the people coming over from whatever channel. But yeah, man, we're going to jump, into our first story, of the day. And Dame Dash comes back up, and we know about Lyor. I'll say it right, Lyor, because people was getting me in the comments saying lawyer. Whatever. I heard some people say lawyer, whatever. We know his name, lawyer, Lyor Cohen. Went on the Breakfast Club and pretty much showed a side. Pretty much showed himself. Who he really was. According to Dame Dash and people like us. The word culture vulture has been thrown around. So Dame Dash has been making his rounds. He ends up on Joe Budden's podcast. Shout out to Joe Budden, in his podcast, and he continues to go in on Lyor Cohen. Sandman, first of all, what do you think about the situation with Lyor Cohen and Dame Dash before we play this audio?
I think it's pretty cut and dry at this point. Lyor Cohen, someone that not usually is in the public eye to do interviews and things like that. I think he showed his card pretty clearly on a Breakfast Club interview. A lot of people say that the Breakfast Club staff, the Breakfast Club team kind of tiptoed around him, where they were kind of grilling Dame Dash and going at a lot of the other CEOs, black CEOs that have a lot of criticism or may have some controversy surrounding them, and they tiptoed around Lyor. And a lot of people were saying that. I think that questions were asked that needed to be asked, and it shedded a lot of light if you're someone that just can kind of look at the situation to see it for what it is, for what this dude is. Yeah, he takes the culture blind. He's going to take money. He doesn't care if you're going to rap about it. He's basically going to hold you up to your own standard. If you're going to do it and you're going to sit there and take drugs, and I'm going to make money off it. But the thing is, and the biggest knock to him is, why can't he do it with why can't he do it with his culture? Why come over here and do it and take away from ours and give back to yours without even feeding it back? If you genuinely care and you physically with your eyes clearly see that there's a problem with some of these young people, young rappers within your label, why in the hell do you call on it and do nothing about it to help and rehabilitate? Facts. If your main premise and main purpose is to just take and give to yours, it's clear. And he said it. So you can't backpedal from that. It's on wax. He said it. It's clear as fucking day. Right. When it comes to Lyor Cohen in regard to him meeting up with Dame Dash, because that's what Joe Budden was talking about. Man, when we get into that, he was trying to say that he can mediate a situation or something like that.
Like the people that were really fighting for us never existed, and I think he flagrantly displayed that in public just because he's so used to it. So that he's a perfect example. Matter of fact, I coined the term because of him, and he's also made it. Culture vultures also make it where a lot of history doesn't get made just because for their own personal benefit. So there's a lot of history that didn't get made because of him.
Do you think that Lyor Cohen has not contributed to hip hop at all?
What I think he's done is exploited it, and I don't think he's of it. And that's all I'm addressing. I don't care what he's done for it.
Yeah,
that's
but when you say he's not of it,
I'm not saying that it discredits anything he's done. But just because someone's done good for hip hop, if he's a child molester, he's still a child molester. So all the good doesn't, all the molesting negates every bit of good that you do. If you hurt the people, especially my people, and you make it where, let me ask you a question. Don't you think it's a little foul that Todd Moskowitz and Joey and Julie Cole have jobs over, got girls like Shari, Brian, all the black girls in the industry have to work for all of these white people that don't know nothing about music? That's what he's done. He's killed our nepotism. He's used his nepotism. Todd Moskowitz can't even dance. He's a lawyer. How does he get a job over someone from our culture? Why does Shari have to work for Todd Moskowitz or Julie Greenwald? Or why does Tina Davis not? Why does Tina Davis isn't running one of these companies? Well, I don't understand that. Because he's the one that's put all these people in business to further control our culture. Why is something called urban music run by anybody white or black music? How could it be run by someone that's not black? What is that for our culture, bro?
You stumped me.
It's very fair.
You stumped me a bit there, Dane. But I mean, I guess I don't really hold it against the white people.
It's not a white thing, not a culture thing. There are people of this culture that deserve it. Like
Steve
I like the young kid Ezra. I'm not saying just people that don't care about the culture. Lyor don't listen to no rap music.
Okay.
He don't even listen to music, and he never did. Did he ever teach anybody how to take care of themselves? You know, instead he got mad at the fact that we figured out a way to make other money off our ancillary and then figured out a way to get it. So then he invented the 360. He's cancer for the culture. And then what does he do? When somebody that's good for the culture wants to come around, he's going to blackball them or make it where they don't exist. So that means he's interfering with my relationship wherever he's at, whether it's YouTube
who's
or
blackballing? Oh no, he's blackballing you.
Well, he just now setting up blackballing, meaning that if he's working for an institution that he doesn't own, he's not going to acknowledge any business that I got to do over there. Yeah, and it's not his to do that. And he just made that very, very, that's torturous interference. Like, if I really feel like it, I could put some money on his head. And I've been thinking about doing it because he's already messed up so much. But he's been so flagrant. You understand what I'm saying? Like, he's been so brazen. He's so disrespectful. Every time I yelled at him, it wasn't for me, it was for y'all. Because he never talked to me like that. He would never fix his mouth to speak like that to me, to talk down on me, or to tell me you didn't hear me talking. He would never even think about doing that. And he's not smarter than none of us. That's what's funny. He swears he's smart. So I would love to publicly have a conversation with him so he can display his intellect.
Can I organize?
And here's another thing. I want to make this real clear. What I don't really like. What I don't like that YouTube is doing is when there's a beef lyrically between one of us, YouTube is paying an artist to respond. And I personally know that. And now that I know who's behind it, it makes sense. So now YouTube is cashing in on rap beef and they're paying people to respond? What type of shit is that? Now what happens if somebody gets hurt?
Well,
and now I'm like, it must be Lyor. Because that's what they've been doing. Whenever we got a beef with each other, they actually look, and that's what they do. They make it where we have a beef with each other so they can profit. So when they ask him a question about Rockefeller, he starts to call other people's names out, not him. So we can fight each other. That's not happening, bro. I'm never fighting a rapper and nobody with my color of skin or from my culture. I want to smoke with Lyor. I want the CEO smoke so we can see how they do it in business. I'm not a rapper.
Damn, I'll be honest. I'm going to try to organize the smoke for you.
Please do. Get the smoke, bro.
I am.
And then what you really want to do is ask him why he's really mad.
All right. Shit, I'm with it. I'm going to set it up, Dame.
They profit off of rap beef all the time. Let's do a YouTube event where me and Lyor speak. Let them profit off. Why they don't profit off of intellectual beef then? Pause.
Yeah, no, I'm all for intellectual.
So when a man calls another man out on a CEO boss level, then that's when they start saying they don't exist. But when two artists are getting ready to get at each other's neck violently, physically in front of the whole culture, they actually give them money to do it. You need to ask him about that at YouTube when you ask him. That's why he's terrible for the culture, because he profits off of our dysfunction. That's the problem, bro.
Well,
all right. I'm going to try and set it up. Damn, I'm going to hit you when I'm in LA. I love you, man.
Yo, he's scared. He's scared.
It's a lot there. Yeah, it's a lot. That's a lot. I do agree. With a large portion, of what Dame Dash, said there, about that. Historically, we seen that. You were just saying a few minutes ago, how these people could come into our culture and benefit off of, all the things that we do and then take it back and feed their culture without ever giving anything to ours. So when they are, I don't know about that claim of him saying that YouTube is paying artists. I don't know, how true that is, how factual, that is. But that's a whole nother situation. But the culture vulture thing is very real. It's very and another thing is the control. And this is one thing that always it baffles me how, we could be generating so much money for these companies. And Jay-Z even spoke on it before. And that's another conversation too. We could generate these billions of dollars and we only getting pennies of this. It takes me back to the book called $40 Million Slaves, where it's just like NFL, all these different industries that we are in, and it seems to be controlled, and we really don't have control because the people at the top are the people who not necessarily have the best, for the culture or us, but they just have the best, for their pockets and whatever the bottom line. You heard Lyor Cohen come on the air and say, yeah, he knows that, that these artists are promoting, drug use, getting people high on opiates and whatnot, but he don't care. He's still going to do it because he has people to feed. Somebody like that will be considered, an enemy and toxic, you know, to a culture who is downtrodden and is trying to bring themselves, you know, up, so-called, what they say, the saying is by their bootstraps, you know. So if you're trying to bring yourself up and you got people constantly, you know, doing things to pull you down, you got to call that out. We cannot sit back here and demonize Dame and Dash for calling out what's real. This is real, and it's something that's been going on for a lot of times, and it goes on in damn near all the industries, you know, that I ran. So I can't really argue against what he said. It's a wake-up call.
You know, Lyor Cohen, right? He's the scapegoat. Let's say the scapegoat for a lot of shit. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because he deserves everything that's coming to him. The 360 deal is the easiest way to put an artist behind bars and shackle him for life. That's nothing but a death sentence when it comes to an artist and their dreams. We shouldn't be surprised that he's doing exactly what he's doing, which is taking from a culture and giving to his own. It's happening everywhere around us. It's been happening since the beginning of time. We shouldn't be surprised by that. Shouldn't be surprised that he's doing exactly what he's doing. What we should do is put money and plant seeds into our own, build them up so that we have something to go on. That's what Dame Dash been preaching. Another day, another time. We'll get on that when we have to. I'm glad that he alluded to that it doesn't have a color, because I want to talk about the 360 deal in particular for 1 second, because there's a lot of labels below your main labels, right, that have this little bit of quote unquote independent money, or may have had fame in back in the day, may have had a little something. So they have a little bit of a foundation to stand on. And they throwing out 360 deals to these hungry artists below the main artist every fucking day. Yeah. All day long. Selling them a dream, selling them name, selling them perception, selling them clout, selling them all the bullshit, because a lot of these artists don't properly have their paperwork, can't afford lawyers, can't afford proper publicists, can't afford people, the right people in their ear to let them know, nah, this is nonsense, nah, this is this, nah, this is that. So they sell them on perception, they sell them on a dream, give them this contract that's essentially is nothing more than a 360 deal to hold them forever. Meanwhile, not realizing that the business that they just got into allows them to have tax breaks, allows them to gain money financially when it comes to the government, the business. So essentially what these smaller labels are doing to try to cheat and gain kind of financial gain for their other bullshit that they may have going on is they're pimping out their artists with their social security numbers, with the business aspect of it, and the artists have absolutely no idea what's going on under them at all. It's the devil him fucking self. Culture vulture to an absolute T. Taken from your culture for financial gain of your own. Maybe not on the grand level to where you're going to get exposed, but you're doing it every single day to every single artist. I see it all day long. It reeks. Right. It's terrible. And they need to be exposed to, and they will eventually. 6ix9ine. He talked about 6ix9ine early on, and Lyor Cohen threw some shots at 6ix9ine, right? And we all can. He's easily able to throw shots at. He's a clown. You know what I mean? He does his perspective. But one thing that you cannot deny about this young dude right here is that he's getting money, and it's not thanks to the label. And they don't like it. They can't stand it. And when Dame Dash brought up the situation with YouTube, it got my bells ringing. I was like, 6ix9ine has all of his content, Instagram, YouTube, whatever he throws out is monetized. So if he's going to have a beef, he's getting the money. Not you, not them, not anybody else. He is. They don't like that. They don't like that he's self-made and he has the control. And if you're going to pimp out and you're going to culture vulture through the culture, however you're going to do it, guess what? I'm going to do it, but I'm going to get paid for it myself. He don't like that. You can see it in the beginning of the interview. Oh, yeah, I'm not 6ix9ine. That 6ix9ine guy, blah, 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 blah. Easily throwing shots, but why would Lyor Cohen throw shots at a 6ix9ine? Because 6ix9ine is doing business that Lyor Cohen doesn't have his culture vulture ass hand in. Well,
let's just talk about, you know, this to get into the conversation of the independent and the people that go to the labels, because this is where the line is drawn and what Dame is getting to on the back end. Also, is like, and when he had the conversation with Van Lathan, he was on the Breakfast Club saying, yo, y'all should do y'all own thing. Why are y'all sitting underneath this corporation and company? You know, you making good money and all that, but you could be doing your own thing, getting this crowd, and you controlling the situation. So when things come up like different scandals and stuff, you can't be fired from this job because you own it. So you have to salute people like 6ix9ine and, you know, plenty of artists that came before him that did the independent thing. You got a lot of people in the South, you know, have been doing the independent thing for a long time. They've been hip to it, you know what I mean? But, you know, again, it's the allure of the label, you know, and right now, and this is what Dame is trying to tell you, you really don't need a label. But if you're lazy and you don't want to, get up and do things on your own and learn and read, we got computers in our pocket. We can learn anything on this computer. We can go anywhere on this computer. And so it's just like, You know, and that's what, even with the podcast, you know, with the the TK Kirkland situation, you know, he was saying on the interview where, you know, right now it's for the you know, the businessman and the hungry entrepreneur now, you know, the podcast game, because it's like people could pretty much, you know, write their own way. If you're hungry enough, you could do what you want to do. So independence for me, you know, is this, it makes sense naturally, you know. For one, going corporate is too much control, it's too much red tape. You can't do what you want. You know, you got to sit around and just be, you know, around people you don't even want to be around. And so now we know that even it's possible that the record label is even feeding these rappers what to say, you know what I mean, and they lyrics and stuff like that. So just like, or even saying you can't say this if it's positive. So, you know, they, that's 100% correct, you know. And I think it's the underlying issue, you know, is when we go back and look at the when we talk about the 360 deal, Dame Dash talks about them being able, getting smarter than the labels and creating merchandise, creating t-shirts, creating things where they can make money outside of the music. They don't like that, like you say, as well, because now they can corner, you know, the market on anything you do. You go tell some t-shirt, we got a percentage of that. You sell this, you do shows, we got a percentage of that. No, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then that's why I don't like when, you know, in closing, you know, everybody has to join up with all these different brands, make your own. But I'll close on that.
Facts on that, man. I really got much to say on that. I think that we've seen, I have to pull up the article, but in 2017, 2018, the amount of money that the artists made was absolutely just disgusting. They made no money. You're not making money in the labels. You're not making money in any deals. It absolutely makes no sense. When you're honestly, the real kind of wealth you're going to gain from being in the music industry right now as an artist is on tours and your merchandise. That's it. It's the only thing you got control over. So if you're not doing that, you're not making any money, and it's showing in the numbers. But just to talk about real quick on the Uncensored Truth podcast,
yes,
with your brother Old Guy, myself, Sam Mint. Y'all see the hats right there, the Viral Hip Hop News hats, officially on the market online on eBay and Amazon. Friday, August 10th. Can't wait for that, man. We'll have links in the description box on all 3 platforms, whatever y'all watching on the Uncensored Truth podcast, man. But let's talk.
Saw you and him walking in the rain, baby. You were holding hands, and I will never be the same.
Alana, what's up, girl? Hey, come take this ride with me. Yeah, shut the door, shut the door. What's up, baby? How you been? You still looking good? Holding everything.
October 26th, it is going down. Gangsta Conversation, the comedy album from none other than T to the motherfucking K, TK Kirkland, going down. Make sure you pre-order your album right here on iTunes. Link in the description box right now. Gangsta Conversation, T to the motherfucking K. Get yours right now. And make sure you stay tuned for the head single on that album, Walking in the Rain, sponsored by TK Kirkland. Get yours right now.
You still looking good? Holding everything in place like we